HVAC technician fan motor basics. Today I want to talk about fan motors, direct drive fan motors, whether it's a closed type, open type, condenser, evaporator fan motor. I've got several fan motors here I want to show you. If you want to learn more about fan motors, today's video is for you. This is Tips for Technicians. I'm Tad, and what we're going to talk about in this video is tools that I use in the field to help me to be prepared and proficient as a service technician when I have motors go out, what type of common problems I run into, how to tell when these motors are bad, also typical installation of these motors. We're going to talk about several different things. I'm actually going to start with what types of fan motors I have beside me and what you need to think about in the field when you go to replace them. Then we're going to go to the tools that I use, which is very important. There's a couple tools that I use that if you don't have in the field, it's really going to be hard for you as a technician, especially when you have a motor that's 15 years old, the shaft is rusted. What do you do to get it off? We'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about the first fan motor. Okay, this right here is a direct drive condenser fan motor. It's also called an outdoor fan motor. Why is it called an outdoor fan motor? Well, the characteristics of the motor, it's a closed type motor. It's not open to the inclement weather. It's mounted usually on a package unit or a condenser outside, and it has a blade here on the shaft, and those blades basically pull the air through the coil and up out of the top, and it usually rejects heat, okay? This right here mounts from the top. You have to have a socket set. I'm going to show you that in a minute, but typical things that you need to make sure you're aware of is the amp draw, 1.7 amps, 230, 208 volts. You need to make sure that you look at the horsepower. It's 1/3 horsepower. RPM is 1120. Now, RPM ratings for motors range from 850 to 1120, okay? These are residential type motors. And you need to make sure that you also look at the direction, whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise. Because if your fan blades are not spinning the right direction, you're not going to be rejecting heat. You're actually going to be more inefficient. And you need to make sure that you definitely pay attention to these factors on your fan motor. Now, this is the first type of motor. It's a closed type motor again, and it's typically installed outdoors, okay? It's actually, I'll go ahead and show you the wiring here. This right here is your common wire, and then you have your other side of your leg. This right here makes 230 volts, okay? If you check these two wires with your meter, you're gonna probably measure 230 volts if voltage is applied. And then you've got a brown wire that goes to your capacitor, okay? Single speed motor, just has a hot and a common, it's single speed. There's not a bunch of wires where you can change speeds. Some fan motors have single speeds, some fan motors have 5 speeds. X13 motors, program motors, usually have a few different speeds to choose from. We're going to get to a program motor here in a minute, a module with a motor. But right now we're going to talk about the next motor, which is an OpenType motor. Characteristics of the motor, it's OpenType, that's how it cools itself. Usually typically installed indoors, and you've got usually a blower wheel and a blower housing. You may have a bracket. Usually you do. It's got a bracket here, and you've got a socket that holds the band together for that fan motor. This fan motor has several speeds. We actually have a red wire, which is your low speed. You got your medium high with your blue and yellow, and then you got your black here. This is your high speed. You got your white for your common, and then you can actually install this several different ways. You've got your brown and white and your brown, which go to your capacitor, or you could wire just your solid brown to your capacitor. It can be a 3-wire hookup or a 4-wire hookup. You need to make sure you understand that. But let's look at the diagram on this motor and look at differences between the indoor motor and the outdoor motor. You looked at the outdoor. This motor right here is 230 volt. Typically installed on a heat pump air handler, package unit or split, but it's usually inside. And then you also have these OpenType motors that are 115 volt, typically installed on a gas furnace. So you have 115, 230. You cannot put a 230 where 115 is. You cannot put 115 where a 230 is. It tells you what voltage is required. You need to make sure that you understand that. So let's look at this. On this universal motor, you have a little tag here that shows you what capacitor is used, what horsepower matches, and then what speed you can use and what your amps are, okay? Let's just see. It says for 1/4 horsepower, you need a 5 microfarad capacitor, And you can do medium, low, or low speed, and it'll be 2.3 amps. On the actual RPM, you have 1075 RPM, 3/4 horsepower, 230 volt, and it can go both directions. See, both directions. So, and then it tells you the wiring there. Okay. So you have everything you need here. You just got to understand how to read it, how to use it. Last couple motors we're going to look at are motors with modules. And what you need to know about these motors are they have a 5-speed setup here. And usually that's going to be with a 24-volt wire, and it's going to be for a call, whether it's heating, whether it's fan continuous, whether it's cooling. And then the other wire that's 24 volts is going to be the common here, okay? So if you were to check for a call, because that's what engages this motor, you would check from the common wire, okay, common, and then one of these wires, whichever was the mode that you're trying to operate the unit in, whether it's cooling or heating, there's going to be a fan speed tap wire that goes here. Then you've got your leg and your neutral, okay, which is right here, leg and neutral. If you check right there, you're going to have 240 volts on this motor, usually 208, 240 volts, and it's going to be from the line side of the contactor. It always has 240 volts, and then it has a call, and then it operates. Now, one thing I will say about these motors with modules is they can do crazy things in the field, like they can just spin back and forth, or they can not run at all when they've got a call. And that's something I run into that's most common in the field, is they won't do anything and they've got a call. That means your module's probably bad. What goes bad more on motors with modules is the module, most definitely. But knowing how to check these modules, and different types of variable speed fan motors like this have different setups. I think American Standard uses a 16-pin harness. This one right here, you've got 2 plugs that plug right into this. And then there's a motor behind me. It's the same exact way. I'm going to show you that. Then we're going to look at different types of tools that I use in the field. So I'm going to take just the module off and let you see the module, let you see the inside, show you that this little transistor here, this little thermistor was burnt up, okay? Right there, it's pretty much gone. But you can see there's 2 plugs here, okay? One is your leg neutral plug, the other one is your call, okay? Same way for this motor. It gets a 24-volt call, and it comes on. I'm going to show you the actual motor here. Little BLDC. Look at that. Amazing. See? And it's got a little 3-plug harness that goes into that module there. What tools do I use in the field? Let's talk about tool number 1. This is a bearing puller. Okay, a bearing puller is used when you cannot get the hub off of the shaft of the motor. And it's very easy to use. You basically take it, you put it down on the hub where the blades are, and then you tighten these set screws, boop, 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 boop. Once they're tightened, you put a wrench here and a wrench here, and you turn this until it pushes the shaft of the motor through the hub. Now, I use this when I cannot get any other method to work. This is worst case scenario. But if you don't have it, then you're going to be out of luck, really. So what do I use to get the shaft clean, lubricated, and then off of the hub? Let's talk about the number 1 method. Sandpaper. You're going to sand the top of the shaft right above the hub. After you get done sanding it, it's no longer going to be rusted, so you're going to have an easier method of getting that hub off of the shaft. You're going to use some type of PB Blaster, WD-40. You got to have this in your van if you're a service technician. And then you got to have a couple adjustable wrenches. What do? You put it on the shaft, you hold the hub, and then you move the shaft of the motor back and forth and back and forth, and then even take the motor and use the weight of it to actually just use the gravity to pull that actual motor and the shaft straight out of the hub. This is going to be method number 1 that I use to get that shaft off of the hub so that you can change the fan motor. So you need those tools. Use some gloves. If you don't have gloves, use some gloves, because you're going to cut your fingers to pieces. You're going to beat them. I have beat my fingers to death. I'm lucky I have fingers. Glad to have fingers, though. Definitely use a drill. I have a 1/4 inch, 5/16. I have a 3/8, because if you have a band around your motor, usually it could be 3/8. It could be, the screws could be 3/8 that are actually holding the motor in the housing. So definitely need 3/8. I also have a socket set, And I also have an attachment for my drill to use my socket set on my drill. Makes it so much faster, so much easier. Now, you need wire strippers, okay, because you might have to cut your wires. You might have, because universal motor might not have the exact hookup or the exact dimensions and all that good stuff for the wires to be able to hook up. You need your wire nuts and you need your wire strippers, right? All right, last but not least, you need a meter. I use a field piece meter. You're gonna need to check your ohms. You may have to ohm out the motor. You may have to check the voltage. Typical ways of checking a fan motor to tell if it's bad. Now that we've covered the tools that I use in the field, let's talk about how do you actually check this motor. So you check this motor's bearings by taking the shaft and not pulling it up and down, okay, but just slightly moving it side to side. If you hear any slack, then the bearings are likely bad in this motor. Also, if you turn the shaft and it doesn't spin freely, like this right here, then it is probably bad. Now, you replace these motors. You don't rebuild them. Used to rebuild them. Now everything is replace, which it probably is easier in the field just to replace the motor. But that's how you check the bearings. Now, you can measure the ohm of the windings. You can measure from the windings to ground, or you can measure from each leg and see if it's open. But typically, fan motors, their bearings go bad. You hear them squealing. In the field, you usually run into homeowners saying things like, man, that thing's making a loud noise. Or, hey, the fan motor's not spinning outside. Now, you need to make sure that you check your capacitor. If you don't know how to check capacitors, look at my playlist, Tips for Technicians. I actually have videos on how to check capacitors. But we're just going to talk about how to diagnose, how to wire, what typical electrical components are used for motors. So that's this video. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. So that's how you check the bearings of the fan motor, and that's what you experience in the field with homeowners. So if you see one barely spinning, check the starting apparatus, the capacitor, make sure it's good, and then also make sure that the fan motor has good bearings, okay? Also, it could be an overload. Like most compressors, motors have a thermal protection. It's an overload, and it basically opens up the circuit of the windings. And you can measure that by taking your meters and measuring from one winding to the next, and it'll OL, okay? It's gonna be open. Now, once it cools down, it may close back and then the motor may run. So make sure you're aware of that as well. All right, typical components used to control fan motors. This right here is a contactor, and it's a 24-volt coil. You've got two wires on each side that basically engages the coil, and then the armature closes contacts. And then you've got your line side, which is where line voltage goes in, and then your load comes out. Your fan motor will probably have a leg here on the load, like this right here. Boom, see that? This black wire is right here from that fan motor. And then you've got your capacitor. You'd have your solid brown wire. If you had a 3-wire hookup, you would have your solid brown on the fan terminal. See, it says fan there. And then you would have your common terminal on the common for the fan motor. Got your white wire there, brown wire here, and then a black wire on one side of these legs. That's a typical wiring of this fan motor. If you used a relay, you would have your line coming into one side if it was normally open, and then you'd have your other side over here. So you'd have that black wire going there. When it engaged the coil here, it would close this normally open set of contacts and engage your fan motor. Now we're going to talk about this board here, all right? So this board has got several spots, okay? It's got your heating, and then it's got your cooling terminal. So you'd have one speed of the fan motor to your cooling, one speed to your heating, okay? And then you'd have your neutral over here. So for this fan motor back here behind me, you would have your white wire going to the neutral, right? You'd have your white wire going to the neutral, and then you'd have one of your wires going to either your cool or your heat. And then you'd have another speed going to the other one. So just a little basic overview. Now this right here is different types of capacitors, 7.5 microfarad. You've got 10 microfarad. You can actually hook your brown and white, and that will be a 4-wire hookup. Or you can hook one brown here, and then the other side would go to a common, okay? It would be your common here, right there, or it would be a common coming off the contactor. You got to have both sides of your line. I'll do a video in the future giving you guys more information if you'd like to have that. If not, just let me know in the comments what I can teach you to better your experience in the field. That's what I want from these videos, guys. I want to be able to help you, and I want to be able to also provide good information. So this wraps up today's video on fan motor basics. If you enjoyed this video, go check out my Patreon. Send me $1 if you think it's worth it. That way it helps me to be able to do more videos. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope that if you're a student and you watch this, that you're more prepared for your experience as a technician in the field. If you want more videos, check out my playlist, Tips for Technicians. I have live in the field experience on several different subject matters, whether it's changing a reversing valve or compressor motors or contactors or checking capacitors or different types of pieces of equipment, whether it's Samsung, inverter. I want you to be more prepared for the challenges that you will face in the field. This is Tad with Tips for Technicians. Remember, I'll keep you cool if you let me.